Welcome back. One final point before we go tonight. Senator Bernie Sanders unveiled his government-run single-payer healthcare system proposal this week. He calls it Medicare for All. And the primary reason he's touting the plan is because so many other senators gave him their stamp of approval. I don't know about you, but I don't want my medical care based on popularity or mob rule. I want it based on what I think is best. I don't give a rat's tail how many out-of-touch elitists in Congress approve of my choices. It's my healthcare. I think it's great that a third of Democrats in the Senate, including Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Cory Booker, Al Franken, and Kamala Harris admit that they want government to make our healthcare decisions. I think it's great because the American people don't want out-of-touch politicians who can't even pass a bill on hurricane relief without drama deciding what medicine we should take. If Democrats support government running our healthcare and we the people reject that, well, Democrats will lose and the better for us. We can see for ourselves what happens when government runs the healthcare industry. We see it in our own country. The VA leaves veterans to die. Medicare is bloated and financially unsustainable. We see it in other Western developed nations around the world too. In Canada, people come to the US for the most up-to-date treatments. In the UK, fat people are denied care because it costs too much for the government to pay for surgery that won't improve the quality of life of the fat people enough to justify the cost in the eyes of the government. We can see for ourselves where socialized healthcare leads to. In Cuba, bureaucrats have one healthcare system and the citizens get another. Guess which system is better? The people get the system where the medical tools are rusty and you have to bring your own light bulbs to the hospital. The elites take private jets to foreign countries and get treated like royalty. In Venezuela, people die waiting just for basic antibiotics. But wait, now that's what Bernie Sanders wants to bring here to the United States, to us. Healthcare is a right, Bernie says, not a privilege. But let's set the record straight on that. You can't declare something to be a right just because you want it. Being a woman is not a right if you're born a man. Birth control is not a right just because you want no consequences attached to sex. Abortion is not a right just because you don't want to be pregnant. Health insurance paid for by somebody else is not a right just because you want something for free or because Bernie Sanders says so. Rights are things with which we are endowed. They're not products or privileges that somebody can lend us or withhold from us at will. For example, life is a right. We're born with life. We have a right to live our life. Liberty is a right. We're born with liberty. Government doesn't give us liberty. God gives us liberty. We have a right to our liberty. We are not born with health care. Health care is a privilege. And we're lucky in our country that we have access to the privilege of such high-quality medical care when we need it. Probably we're spoiled and take it for granted even. But it is not a right, and declaring it to be so necessitates that government stick their nose into the business of health care to protect that right. And that is the only reason Bernie Sanders is pretending it's a right. So he has an excuse for government to take over. But it leaves us with this question, too. Nowhere in the world has socialized healthcare increased the quality of care, increased access to care, and brought down the cost of care. So why would Senator Sanders want to bring that here? And that's my final point. You can reach me on Twitter at Liz_Wheeler. If you liked the show, please send me an email at oann.com/contact. In the meantime, catch us here tomorrow at 9 o'clock Eastern. And until then, have a good night.